in the schools as well as in society. Now we know that there is much pressure on the children, and academic success is highly valued in India. In such a case, we know that our background in education or the different facets that India has passed through, all the cultural moorings also have a role on the academic transactions in the classroom. What I mean to say here is the different backgrounds, people coming from different caste, creeds, races, all these can have an influence on the classroom transaction. These differences may arise in the children as well as along because of in the background of the teachers also. Now we know that the curriculum means all the set of the activities that take place inside the classroom as well as outside the classroom. In such a case, we'll be studying what are the different types of curriculum, how curriculum plays an important part in the classroom transaction, and also we'll be studying about the different aspects of consumerism that is occurring throughout the India or in other countries too, and how education is being influenced continuously by technology, and the reasons of stress in the children. We know that the educational psychology is based mostly on the students and whatever is happening in the classroom, or that is the teaching and learning processes. In such a case, we have to understand what curricular transaction is occurring. Curriculum is determined by the nation and by the society, but is being practiced in the classroom. But let us understand what is curriculum. Career means a racetrack. Originally, in the Roman countries, in the Rome actually, a chariot would run across a particular course. Now, if the chariot has to run, it means it has to go in a particular track. This would mean that there has to be a set path to actually to go to a goal, to reach a goal. Therefore, curriculum too is a set track which, if applied to the classroom teaching, can help the teachers attain their goals as well as the learners reach their goals. So the curriculum is a plan and education is the product, as I have been telling earlier. It is through curriculum that the children learn attitudes, values, interests, gain knowledge, and also develop different perceptions, skills, and competences. Now we know that in spite of the curriculum, so many other facets also take place in teaching. So there are different factors which actually are there, which help in the transaction of the curriculum. Sometimes there are also certain hidden factors in the curriculum, which may not be obvious to the eye, but they are there. And these aspects may be sometimes exacerbated. That is, they may either increase or decrease based upon the teacher or based upon the management, or maybe based upon the institution or society. Now, these sort of curriculum, which is not explicitly stated, but is there hidden, is known as the hidden curriculum. For example, we find discrimination in the school based on race, gender, sex, and also age, ethnicity, and also what class they belong to. Now, that is whether they have come from a rich class or a poor class. Now, all these distinctions are not there when you try to ingrain knowledge in the children. But at the same time, these aspects are also learned by the children because of the classroom environment. Now, also the hidden curriculum sometimes may be practiced by the teachers or by the management. Now, this divides the people into many. Now, we talk about the diversity factors. So here we should understand that the hidden curriculum may come in the way of actually practicing or understanding diversity and respecting diversity. Let us see initially what is the definition of curriculum. Definition of curriculum is, as Cunningham says, it is a tool in the hands of the teacher and molds the pupils according to the aims and ideals of the institution. Now, we understand curriculum is a course of study, whereas syllabus is how it is to be done, how a curriculum is to be followed in a particular manner. Crow and Crow say that curriculum includes all the activities and experiences planned inside and outside the classroom, which help the child to grow physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, and morally. Carter V. Good says that the overall general plan of the content or how the specific material of instruction is to be done to the students in a classroom, and which actually helps him to be qualified as a professional. All such activities come under the scope of the curriculum. Now we have the Secondary Education Commission, that is in India, which talks about curriculum as the totality of experiences that a pupil receives through various activities and experiences, which may be either classroom activities or library visits or lab visits or field visits, and also work in the workshops, playgrounds, projects, assignments, formal and informal contact with various people's administrators, etc. So it is not merely the subject which is taught in the classroom, but it is the totality of experiences which a child undergoes in the school that comes under the concept of curriculum. Now, that is, curriculum means the total life of how a child experiences, what a child experiences in the school, and therefore this helps him to evolve into a balanced personality. Now, we also know that curriculum also refers to a program of study. What is to be expected in a course? The course material or the text, the objectives of the particular study, and also the extracurricular and co-curricular activities, the guidance provided by the management or the administration, also the interpersonal relationship between the teacher and the taught, and also the lab practicals, examinations, then experiments, whatever is published in the school, and also whatever support is given in the school. All this comes under the either the curriculum, and this may be seen in an informal system or in a formal educational system. Now, we know syllabus means the list of the lessons that are there in the textbook. Now, these lessons are planned or written well in keeping with the view of the curriculum. Syllabus generally consists of what is being taught and being examined. It is not in the curriculum that the student is examined, but rather than in the syllabus. Now, let us see what is the word, the syllabus. Syllabus is a detailed description of the content of the course of instruction. That is, we have a detailed content and it helps to instruct. It gives a sort of guideline or guidepost to the teacher to exactly tell the student about the content matter. The organized content matter is the syllabus. Now, if we are actually trying to differentiate between curriculum and syllabus, we know that the curriculum is a Latin word, whereas syllabus is a Greek word. Curriculum is, the scope is very wide and it is prepared by the government, and according to the objectives, in a limited frame, again, the objectives of the curriculum are framed by the college or the institute. Now, curriculum is for the entire course or for the whole year. And also, it is same for all the teachers of that particular type of institutions across the country or also the state. Now, curriculum is the set of courses offered in an educational institution, and it can be adjusted easily, and it is prescriptive in nature, and also it is not accessible to students. Whereas syllabus is, the scope is narrow, it is prepared by the exam board so that we'll know what is the content to be taught. It is for the particular period or for particular term only. It varies from teacher to teacher, and it is a description of the subject that are to be taught in the particular class. It is a document where the list of the lessons are given. It can be descriptive in nature, and it is accessible to students in a printed format. Now, if we are to study about curriculum, we know that there are different types of curriculum. Now, let us discuss a few types. For example, one of the types would be the explicit curriculum. This is also known as a written curriculum. See, if any institute intentionally tries to frame the agenda and it has the course structure, the lessons, whatever learning activities the institute plans for the students throughout the year, and which is actually prepared by the administrators or the management, and also along with the teachers, they try to give the list of the activities complete for throughout the year. And this enhances the learner's knowledge, comprehension, and skills. All these activities come under the curriculum. That is known as explicitly stated it is. Such a curriculum is known as explicit curriculum. Now, we can also use document, films, texts, or any other supplementary teaching material for carrying out the explicit curriculum. So here, all the curriculum items are clearly mentioned and detailed. Now, there is social curriculum. That is the informal curriculum that is seen in the child when the child tries to learn at a school. The child, in spite of being at the school, tries to interact with his family, with his peers, and with other persons in the society, neighbors, relatives, and also religious organizations, the mass media, and various socializing forces. Now, the child learns throughout his life. Nowadays, of course, we have got the social media like the Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, through which the child also tries to communicate. Now, as social curriculum, they all influence us and they help to modify our opinions, experiences, and behaviors. The hidden or covert curriculum is another type of curriculum as this is not visible. As I was saying earlier, there may be the school type, the management or the administrators or the teachers who may bring a different set of experiences to the children. And this is not explicitly stated in the curriculum, but by their behavior or by management and organization, as well as discipline, rules, and as well as the objectives of establishing such institutions, the motto of the institutions, arrangement of the classrooms, arrangement of the benches and the chairs, the formal instructions given, the messages and information given, or the what we call the different types of influences one provides or the models provided to the students. All these will have a different sort of curriculum given. And here all these are hidden. Actually, they're not being obvious very much, but they are there. The students, how we actually try to discipline them through rewards or punishments, or how we try to influence the students directly or indirectly by subjecting them to different experiences, and also learning, making them learn from day-to-day experiences either in the playground or in the library or in the lab. All these will contribute to the hidden or what we call the covert curriculum. Also, there is null curriculum. Null curriculum means nothing is taught. We try to avoid talking about certain things, and that this is known as the null curriculum. For example, no one teaches about the war, but children come to know about war and peace. Generally, we talk about peace, but not war. Now here, the children are able to learn about the war also through other influences. So we try to avoid certain subjects in the classroom, but the children come to know through one or the other source. So this is known as the null curriculum. The phantom curriculum is another curriculum where this is not obviously stated, but still it is learned. For example, the influence of the mass media on the children can be thought of such an example. Consider how fashion is learned by the children. They observe through different media or mass media or films, and they are able to generally form an idea of what fashion sense is. Now here, such a sense is developed because of the phantom curriculum, on which we have no idea, but still we are not able to control it. But still the students are able to gain influence from the outside sources. Now there are also conformant curriculum. That is, although we try to teach something, there are certain other values learned by this curriculum aside, across. That is, we learn morals or ethics or what we call values by learning something. For example, if we learn about environmental education, maybe certain values of trying to keep the environment safe or trying to plant certain what we call trees which are helpful to the environment. All these are being developed. That is, here, when we teach something, something else is also learned, which is beneficial, especially something like values and morals. And this is known as the conformant curriculum, which comes alongside with some curriculum. Now, also we have got the rhetorical curriculum. We know that the policymakers, politicians, educationists, administrators all talk about certain phrases, and also the school officials, also professionals and nation and state reports, they make certain statements. For example, India in the 21st century. Now, this is a catchphrase. Now, students learn on these catchphrases and are also able to learn several things either by the speeches on related to ideas and concepts, or which belong to pedagogical knowledge. Now, all these are also learned from the media or from professionals or religious or political organizations. And this becomes the rhetorical curriculum. Rhetoric means which is spoken out. Now, sometimes the curriculum, what is delivered, may be called as the curriculum in use. Sometimes whatever the child learns, the child is an individual who tries to perceive the curriculum on his own, and every such child is called as, he is supposed to have received some curriculum, and that is known as the received curriculum. Also, we have got the internal curriculum, where the students assign certain meanings of what he has learned, tries to incorporate it into his own belief system, and makes his own knowledge, that is during the teaching learning process, and what a child gets or reaps that benefit from out of the lesson or the teaching learning class, that becomes the internal curriculum. Also, we have got nowadays the electronic curriculum. This has come because of the technology that we are increasingly adapting to, and that is due to the internet, the wiki, blogs, chats, online conversations, and through emails. The curriculum, in spite of whatever we try to limit, even the teachers are being now making the students understand such activities or assign certain activities which are increasingly using the electronic media, and such things become the electronic curriculum. Now, let us talk about the hidden curriculum. Now, this is a term coined by Philip W. Jackson in his book called The Life in Classroom. What is the hidden curriculum? Here, it is not explicitly stated, but it is the general values and attitudes that are learned in the school, which are based on socially accepted knowledge, which the child learns very much informally. That is, the child learns all these aspects on values, beliefs, etc., not in a formal setting, but in an informal manner. Now, for example, let us understand what happens in a school. The school is a particular type of organization. It has particular architecture, the building style, and also it has certain furnishings. And we also, in the classroom, we have certain discipline being followed. There are certain curricular priorities. So one subject is taught first and the other subjects are taught later. Also, there are some things like the student-teacher relationship. Sometimes they're friendly, sometimes they're discipline-oriented. Also, there is classroom interaction between the teachers and the teacher and the child, and between the peers. And also, we find that there are different norms of the institution. There are rules governing discipline. Also, the language used by the textbook, the language that is being spoken in the school, and also the content of the lessons or the content of the syllabus, content of the textbooks, and also the audio-visual aids that are being used, and the teachers, how they are, whether they're friendly or not, and the authority they try to impose or the authority they try to exhibit. All these factors contribute to the hidden curriculum. Now, we know that there are many sources of hidden curriculum. As we were saying earlier, the school norms, ethos, rituals, or the celebrations of how you celebrate the different functions in a school, and the roles and relationship between teachers and the students, and between students and students, and also the teacher expectations. All these are the sources of hidden curriculum. Also, sometimes we have the cultural activities planned in the school, the classroom activities, also the extracurricular activities, the infrastructural facilities, the instructional facilities, and the textbooks or the libraries that are being provided, the computers that are provided, the ICT tools, examinations, how they are conducted, what grading is given, and school principles. So these are all hidden curriculum. When parents try to join their wards in different schools, they try to focus on all these issues rather than mere syllabus or mere instruction. This is because the hidden curriculum can be a source of positive sort of influence also. But society can also be a hidden source of curriculum. For example, we have a dominant culture or the socio-economic hierarchy, whatever we see in the society, or what we call the conservative bias, which may work against democratic values, diversity, equity, or social justice, or the sort of scientific principles the society follows. All these are also somehow they directly influence the school activities. Now, let us see certain examples of the hidden curriculum. Now, when we talk about the gender or races or castes, sometimes we may favor certain castes or gender or certain groups of people compared to other groups or other races or other genders. This happens very normally in any social setting. This is because we try to discriminate between what we are against what some others are. Also, we have some accepted ideas of how one should behave. And also some accepted ideas, they take predominance over other ideas, which may be true, but still they are not accepted. Also, we have expectations from educational institutions saying that they have to carry on or value or they have to reinforce our own ideas or behaviors. So we look at the schools as a social settings where our own behaviors or ideas get reinforced. Also, we see that the interaction between teachers is welcome sometimes and not welcome. And the interaction between peers is also encouraged sometimes in some schools and sometimes it's not encouraged. So now all these are the aspects of hidden curriculum. Now, one thing we have to see is whatever is not studied in curriculum, not deliberately planned is hidden curriculum. It is invisible, unwritten, and very latent and silent. And it is a byproduct of schooling. It is not normal schooling, but a byproduct. And it has influence, rather a strong influence on the student. The child learns attitudes and values and behaviors from this hidden curriculum, and also from the social environment or the classroom environment. The student learns values, beliefs, and also norms. And we have different learning experiences being provided in the classroom. Sometimes they may be unintended by the teacher, but they have the influence on the child. Now, the hidden curriculum also is used in a negative connotation. Now, sometimes we have certain negative influences. For example, the inequalities which are existing in the society between either races or gender or classes may also be exhibited in the classroom. Now, we have to see that different religions or classes or status are sometimes unknowingly favored against some other classes or religions. Now, various aspects of the learning experience in the school should contribute to the success of the hidden curriculum. So it is actually a positive aspect as well as a negative aspect. We know that the hidden curriculum can also try to give certain social and moral sort of values to the child. Now, the educational implications of the hidden curriculum are generally the students forget the lessons taught by the teacher, but they remember the school as such and the various activities they have undertaken. And generally that means they remember the hidden curriculum of the school. Also, the hidden curriculum is transmitted sometimes intentionally and sometimes unintentionally. We know that the student and teacher relationships are affected by hidden curriculum. Sometimes there are such implicit rules in the hidden curriculum that the teacher is to be respected, he is not to be spoken to. Whereas some other schools may have such sort of curriculum where the teacher interaction is provided, the teacher is valued, respected at the same time. The student is also given the choice to speak very freely to the teacher. Sometimes it is so happens that the teacher is very lenient with the student so that the student does not, he or she doesn't start, they do not respect the teacher as much as they should. So these are all dependent on the hidden curriculum. So sometimes it is intentional, sometimes it is unintentional. So therefore, the teachers and the student relationships also get affected because of the hidden curriculum. We find sometimes the attitudes of the children or the conflict sort of thing that develops or the behaviors that develop in the students are all because of the hidden curriculum. We see every culture has certain expectations and values and perspectives, and the student is affected by such values and behaviors, and the manifestation of this hidden curriculum in school culture will vary from one institute to the other institute. Now, most of the time, the teachers and education should understand that there is hidden curriculum and they should have solutions to improve their teaching and learning. If it is positive, it should be developed in the school curriculum. Through hidden curriculum, they can try to develop suitable values or behaviors in the students. And the alternative, there is a negative connotation that also can be removed. Now, the role of the teacher is we have to understand that there are different attitudes and values in an existing society, and that should be used as a teaching learning strategy, and it should be presented as certain messages through teaching, because there are universal values of freedom, and also universal values of truth, and also universal values of how to gain knowledge. In such a setting, if we want to have the social change in the society, it is through hidden curriculum that we can try to develop certain good values among the students. And this happens only through the expert hands of a teacher. He can gradually, through his stories or other type of anecdotes or through certain lessons, he can gradually try to build favorable attitudes among the children and help them learn about the diversity and also respect others and develop suitable societal norms and also good moral values. The teachers, also languages and skills can be developed through collaborative learning strategy by the teacher by using certain games which can be played along with the peers of an individual. Teachers and parents can also share their thoughts and change proactively the behavior of the students, so that through hidden curriculum, so that the values, whatever are learned, will be there for a longer time. Teachers can change the negative behavior of the children through counseling and through hidden curriculum. Now, when we see, this is how we can use the hidden curriculum, because whatever curriculum is seen that is explicitly is okay. It is also valued. At the same time, the hidden curriculum is such a thing which can be used proactively to develop certain innate behaviors in the child and see that they grow up as good individuals in the society. Now, the learners' diversity in the Indian context, if we were to consider it, we know that the India is a multilingual, multiracial, multicultural, multi-religious country. And here we find people belonging to all the different types of religions, castes, classes, and languages, with the ability to speak different languages. So all these diversities are seen in the society. They are reflected in the classroom also. Now, these disparities and diversities are much more in the Indian context compared to some other countries, which may be having a single language or a single religion. Now, these differences, which are either due to ethnicity, religion, gender, socio-economic status, age and abilities, and all these many other aspects can pose a difficulty to teacher, in the sense that the teacher has to be a successful teacher, should be able to address all these issues in the classroom and take care of the children who may belong to these different what you call diverse sections. The diversity in students may also be there due to the students who may be having different physical, mental, emotional abilities, and also they may hail from different social, academic backgrounds and cultural and traditional backgrounds. Also, the diversity in the students may be due to their family backgrounds or their different household experiences. The parental education may also vary from family to family. The attitudes, interests, desires, and expectations are also different from society. Some families may be highly ambitious, while some may be only trying to have a living or a livelihood. So discipline in the family, the freedom that is being observed by the family members, the values, morals, or the love and affection given by the parents to the children, and between the siblings, the type of the parental leadership, whether the parents find themselves being good leaders, and also the economic status of the society, the number of siblings that a family has, because the number of siblings may have a bearing on the economical status of the family, and also whether the family is a joint family or a nuclear family. All these will have a definite bearing on the learner as well as the learner's behavior. Now, when a child enters a classroom, or when he enters a school, he has to undergo through the process of the school environment, the different management or organizational structure of the school, and also he has to see the discipline of the school and the values and the norms that are being propagated either through hidden or the normal explicit curriculum. We know in the classroom too that the teachers manage the classes differently. The teaching learning experiences provided by the teacher vary, and also different curricular and extracurricular and co-curricular activities are presented, and therefore the ideology and philosophy of the peoples working in the institute also will be different. Generally, all these activities together they influence the students and their behaviors. Besides the family, as well as the school, there are certain other organizations or other features or factors that influence. For example, consider religion or the neighborhood, the peer groups, or the societal norms and standards that are experienced by the child because of its relationships with relatives or neighbors. All these create differences in the child. We can see that there is diversity in the children. In New Guinea, it is a very ethnically diverse country. We have children hailing from different societies or races. United States has about 78% of Christians and France about 63%. In Iran, there are about 99% Muslims. And India, there are people belonging to the different religions. Now, this religious diversity is also seen in many other countries too. And the people or the children, what sort of dressings they have, what sort of religious beliefs they have, what sort of mentalities they have, what language, heritage they have, all these will vary. And this will actually try to what we call deepen a relationship in the school, or they may be what we call recreate a rift in the school. So all these religious propensities as well as the religious meetings one attends, all these will also create diverse sort of learners in the school. Now, the role of the teacher is first of all, the teacher has to be wary of the differences in the classroom can also result in what we call diverse sort of experiences to the learners. The teacher herself or himself may hail from certain educational experiential background, and therefore the teacher has to be aware that one has to be open to the diversity that exists in a country as well as in society, so that he or she will be able to teach the children or the learners. For example, the teacher should be prepared to address the issues from the learners as well as develop certain morals in the learners. And this means that they should have increased competencies to deal with the learners. Now, this means that continuous professional development must be there, and in-service training must be provided to teachers to see that although whether they may be coming with certain values, that they should be open to what we call learn as well as develop a common free outlook among the students and accept the racial diversity or other sort of diversities. Now, this means the teacher should be having enough confidence to deal with different diverse learners who may hail from different races, cultures, and also there may be certain issues in the classrooms when it comes to aspects like gender or class issues. And a teacher, being the leader that one he is supposed to navigate the classroom and develop what we call the communication competencies in the children and develop proper values and ethos in the children. This means she or he has to understand the diverse beliefs, cultures, and socio-economic settings, and also they should be trained to how to teach these diverse learners. And if there arise any difficulties, they should be able to overcome all these and make the children understand the diverse viewpoints and diverse races, languages, cultures, etc. Now, this means the teacher has to provide intergroup contact and relationships among the class children, and also respect for other people and for diversity. And she should also help in peer learning and learning from each other, and also see that the students are able to reflect on these aspects. Now, all these values and adapting diversity will take certain what we call deliberate attempts or communication abilities, and also awareness about diversity as such. Now, this means one should have an understanding about the diversity that is existing in different countries or in different societies. Now, we know that in spite of whatever we say, there is in curriculum, there exists a hidden discrimination. What is the hidden discrimination? We say in India that any Indian citizen should not be discriminated based on either religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, and others. This is enshrined in the Article 15(1) and 2 of the Indian Constitution. But in spite of this, we know that in our educational system and curriculum, we have certain flaws where the ideas of caste, creed, religion, and ethnicity, gender, and status are sown in the minds of the tiny tots. This may be sometimes deliberate, sometimes intentional, but sometimes it is also because of the hidden curriculum. We know that one should not be discriminated against caste, but certain castes may be emphasized upon, or there may be certain role models based on caste. Sometimes we say that the gender should not be, discrimination should not be there. But we know that the gender roles that are portrayed in the lessons or the textbooks may be different. Also, we find that discrimination may be there because of disability in certain children. We also know that harassment or victimization through unknown and unknown forms may be there unknowingly or without any sort of thoughtlessly, they may be incorporated into the textbooks. Now, we should also see that during the managemental processes also, that there should not be any discrimination based on disability. For example, nobody can be refused admission to a classroom because, to a school because of their disability. Also, in the name of the caste, one cannot refuse something to be done to the student. That is, he cannot be denied admission, nor cannot he be denied participation in activities. Similarly, due to gender also, there may be certain discrimination that also should be avoided. Racial discrimination is sometimes shown for international students. That also should be avoided. Now, to have such a, what we call a uplifted state of mind, that means that the children should be made aware, that the teacher should be made aware of the diverse backgrounds of the children as well as the state policies. Now, the role of the teacher is they have to learn the appropriate manners, behaviors, and what is expected of them in a school. Some students pick up the fact that marks and grades and scores are given to those whom the teachers favor. And also the students are not taught, but they are not even allowed to participate in certain classroom activities. And this sort of behavior is observed by the teacher, by the child, and is also internalized. So he comes to understand that the teacher favors certain people or certain races over the others. Now, therefore, the role of the teacher is, it is very crucial, and she has to provide proper model to the child, because it is through observation of the teacher initially that the child tries to form the behavior. Now, it is a socialization process occurs in school that we know. Therefore, the different gender roles as well as the races or whatever is existing in society, the differences, the class differences should be made at the same time, and it should not be discriminated against. So diversity should be respected. And also the books, the content, all these should be what we call, try to develop such sort of behavior in the children. The best example is for games and sports, we can see boys are generally, they are expected to do well in sports and games, but not girls. Also, we know that in certain aspects like arts and literature, the girls are supposed to do better. Now, this sort of discrimination can also have a curtailing effect on the individuals. Also, in the school curriculum, the knowledge of some cultures, morals, and some classes, some stereotypes, some politics, some cultural expectations are favored over those of the other. Now, this gives a particular bias. So it is very difficult to actually see, to have a curriculum which has no bias at all. But then even the teacher can play a neutral role even in such an environment and try to understand the heart and the soul of the children and make the children understand that there are certain universal values, and one can always be understanding of the different aspects of different cultures. Also, the teacher should be able to respect the diversity that is seen in the classroom, which may be because the children may hail from different languages or different cultures, and the individual differences are to be given importance, because no two individuals are alike, and we should see that every individual has certain exceptional talent, and that is to be nurtured. And basically, the individual should be led to lead a life of their own where they can be happy with themselves and with society. The teacher should consciously try to control the negative aspects which may be there in the society and develop the positive attitudes and help the students to become the citizens of tomorrow, because we live in a diversified world. The diversity is much more larger in other countries, and we are becoming what we call completely multicultural as well. We are developing, try to incorporate people from different nations are also flocking to other nations. Therefore, there is a complete necessity to understand the multicultural aspect also. So we are talking today about the curriculum, which means a program of studies, the course materials, the objectives, the curricular and the extracurricular activities, the content that is taught, the syllabus, and also the guidance that is given, and the interpersonal relationships that exist in the school between the parents, the teachers, and the peers, and also the learning experiences and the field experiences provided in the labs, libraries, and also in the playground, and how all these influences can form a learning experiences in both the formal settings and informal settings. There are different types of curriculum we talked about: the explicit, the informal, the societal curriculum, the hidden curriculum, the phantom and the null and the conformity curriculum, the rhetoric and the internal curriculum, and the electronic curriculum. So different people hailing from the different students hailing from different societal backgrounds and cultural backgrounds, and different parental education and parental attitudes and values can also have different types of experiences in society. And when a child comes to the school, he comes not alone, but along with all these sort of inbuilt experiences with him. So we should make the teacher understand that there is diversity in the classroom, and sometimes it becomes difficult to actually address such diversity, but the teacher should have the confidence to build up the positive energies and also see that there is no discrimination in the class based upon the race, caste, gender, etc. But at the same time, there should not be any discrimination because some people are disadvantaged or some people are disabled, and the teacher should avoid that there is no victimization or harassment of the child in the classroom. Also, the teacher should be able to develop a respect for diverse people, diverse societies, and a respect for other persons, others, and develop humanity in the children, and see that the children are able to live in a society which is completely diversified. Now, let us deal a bit with another unit called as stress and anxiety in schools. Now, when we talk about the stress, we know that lots of children during the last 1-2 years, especially dealing with exams like NEET or IIT, they have also committed suicide because of the stress that they have undergone. Now, we may say that stress is caused because of the physical demands on the body by environment of social simulations. And this can have a potentially harmful, uncontrollable sort of effects. And our body resources are no longer able to cope with it. And an internal state exists, which is completely ridden with what we call certain physical as well as physiological stressors. Now, we know that the most people experience stress as a daily part of their lives. This is because some people feel more stress than others. Some people may find that when subjected to certain stress, they are able to do better. Whereas most of the people, some other people may feel that the stress is actually can cause harm to them. So what one perceives as threat may be an opportunity to another. Now, these stress-causing events are known as stressors. Now, stress may come from inside a person or from the external source. Now, one of the most common response to our stressors is anxiety. So anxiety is a general term that covers different types of disorders. All of them means that they have nervousness or worry or fear or apprehension. The American Psychological Association defines anxiety as an emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thought, and physical changes like increased BP or blood pressure. So anxiety is a constant, unrelenting sensation that requires intervention from a professional. Whereas stress is something which is usually transient. That is, it may come and go and it can be addressed. But continuous stress also can have a bearing on the physical well-being of a person. What causes stress? For example, if you are subjected to a new situation, you go to a new school or a college, that it can itself be a stress. Also, we find different changes occurring in the person's life suddenly. Some may lose a friend. Some may lose a parent. Sometimes there may be serious illness which may suddenly rise in the body. Also, sometimes some hassles may be experienced, like in day-to-day travel to the school or college, or you may argue with some of your neighbors, and that may cause the stress for the day. Now, the difference between the stress and anxiety are both share some primary physical symptoms. That is like having a pounding heart, rapid breathing, pupils which are dilated, muscle tensions. These tend to overlap, but we know that the stress is there when people make ordinary daily decisions, such as where to go, what to eat. All these can also cause, small things can also cause stress in some people. We use both the words stress and anxiety interchangeably, but they are different experiences. And of course, when you have stress, you have anxiety, but when anxiety is there may be stress. But as I was saying earlier, stress can be addressed, but anxiety may be a continuous part of one's personality. Now, stressful feelings include frustration and nervousness. And also, anxious feelings include sometimes fear, unease, and worry. The difference is in the reaction. There is something that is happening and is triggered by a specific situation, that is stress. Anxiety is a continuous sort of psychological feeling that something may happen or may not happen. So this is a continuous perpetual feeling that is seen in a person. Now, anxiety is also a stress that continues even after the stressor is gone, whereas stress can be, if the stressor is removed, the stress can be gone. What are the physical and psychological symptoms that are seen in both stress and anxiety? Whenever there is stress or anxiety, we feel that we have stomachache or muscle tension or headache. Sometimes we also find that we have rapid breathing and sweating. There is sometimes dizziness and shaking and frequent urination. There is change in appetite, sometimes diarrhea. Sometimes we have trouble sleeping. The psychological conditions would be, there would be depression or anxiety, anger and irritability or restlessness. Sometimes one may feel overwhelmed or unfocused. They may have trouble sleeping. And also there may be constant worry or racing thoughts. The internal conflicts remain unresolved, and the person has to choose, especially between two mutually exclusive goals. That is, there are two goals that are to be addressed independently. The person has a difficulty in choosing what to do first and what to do next. And this may also give a sort of conflict to the person. Also, there may be problems with memory and concentration. People start making bad decisions when they're stressed out. Then they feel there is something, doom is going to come. There is an impending doom. The panicness or nervousness is seen, especially in a social settings. They have difficulty concentrating. They feel very restless and they show irrational anger. So if the people have stress and anxiety over long periods of time, they have negative health outcomes and they tend to develop heart diseases and high BP, diabetes, and depression, and sometimes panic disorders. We find that stress is in most of the people, it becomes a normal thing. As WHO says, it is the disorder for the 21st century. But then we see when the students also face academic stress. This stress is because of examinations and deadlines for assignments, or when a student goes to a new school, or when he actually has to go to school, when the teacher asks the student to participate in the classroom, then too, the student exhibits this sort of stress symptoms. If a child is provided with too much workload, also if the child has difficulty in organizing his own work and the time management is not learned, and the child leaves the work till the last minute and does not do his assignments or homework in a timely manner, then too much of a heavy workload can also contribute to the stress of the children. If a child visits to a new school, in a new place, or if the parents get transferred, or if the parents go to another country, and this will also cause stress because they have a difficulty in trying to adjust to the school system. And also sometimes there may be expectation from the family or the parents may asking the student to do better in the school and with studying. And maybe if the parents are highly educated, they have more sort of what we call more stress being caused to the child. And sometimes there may be problems existing at home, and the parents also may be a source of stress to the child, and the parents are always fighting, are not able to talk to their children properly. This also can know that there are many different pressures that are built there. Gradually will start developing as stress as without a person noticing. Now, generally, the psychological disorders can be seen like anxiety, depression, and stress increasingly will grow because of the pressure on the students to perform better. Sometimes the children are not able to do academically well, and the low academic achievement, instead of asking to rectify the solution, when they are negatively criticized, it can lead to more stress. We know that most of the school children in India are exhibiting such sort of stress symptoms, and there is high prevalence of mental illness in the country, which is not good for the society. Now, what are the factors that are influencing the students' academic performance? The academic performance of the students, it depends on the teacher's support in the classroom and the classroom environment. Further, the family also plays an important role. That is, the parents who are highly educated can help the children to learn more. The sex of the child, the locale of the child, as well as how the parents understand these issues and try to help the children, also gives a positive influence to the children. The parents, if they have high educational expectations, then also it can be a cause of stress, but sometimes the parents' higher education can help the children actually to come out of the stress also. Sometimes if the child is stressed out, we know that it results in certain self-harm activities. The child should not be having long-time school schedules, because long-time school schedules without any curricular or extracurricular activities or additional hobbies or other plays or sports can also impede the child's development. Sometimes there are very impracticable, what you call beliefs or demands from the guardians and the parents, asking the student to excel in everything, which is not possible. Some children are good at certain things only. This can also become a stress to the children. Sometimes there is poor academic performance in the students and due to poor study habits. And instead of rectifying these poor study habits, if the child is forced or criticized negatively, this can have a negative influence on the child's performance again. The poor socio-economic status of the children can also be a cause of stress, because when they compare themselves with others hailing from a richer background, they try to compare themselves and they feel that they are being somewhat lost. In such a situation, it is their socioeconomic status which is coming in the way of their own development. That also can be a cause of stress to the children. So the children, being the sensitive souls they are, and because of all the influences they are subjected to, and because of their nature, it is possible that they become more stressed out. So especially adolescent stages, the parents and the teachers have to take adequate care of these students. Now we have the teachers, counselors, and administrators and peers in the school who can all help the child to come out of the stress. Now, how we do know about the academic stress? The academic anxiety or stress can be seen. It is characterized by a feeling of insecurity and the avoidance behaviors of the students. That is, the students go on avoiding a particular class or teacher or subject, or procrastination behavior. The student no longer does the work that is asked by the teacher and goes on postponing. If a student happily participates in a classroom activity, does the assignments on time, that means he is interested in the study. If one goes on procrastinating or worrying about a particular performance or about the evaluation, that means they are stressed out. Recently, we have talked about certain conditions known as alexithymia, that is emotional impairment. That is, they're having certain problems. That is, they are either very angry or they're fearful. They do not have control on their emotions. That condition is actually supposed to see that there is a relationship between such symptoms as well as academic anxiety. Now, this academic anxiety will again try to create certain behavioral disorders. So it becomes a complete cycle. The stress leading to certain disorders, and the disorders again leading to the stress, and therefore academic anxiety starts to persist continuously. Now, how can one overcome the academic stress or anxiety? So we know that many students are, or college students or normal classroom students are having the most trying times in the colleges or schools, and they are thinking of suicides. And this is a very negative attitude, because they have this condition like depression or anxiety. Most nearly about 13 to 34 to 80% in different societies are saying they are being stressed out. 80% of the students say they are stressed out because study is no fun for them. They become depressed, and there is imposition from the society, and instead of being fun, the education becomes a sort of a negative cycle, where vicious cycle, where the students are no longer happier, and anxiety and depression and other mental health conditions prevail. Now, most of the students, because of these anxious conditions or the parental imposition of on learning, they try to even commit suicide, which is a very sad thing. Now, we know that the colleges or the schools should try to reduce the stress, make learning happy thing, and their academic progress should be monitored, and there should be less interference, and they should be actually given support on how to actually go about the learning activity. So we can overcome the academic stress and anxiety by following certain strategies. One is to have a to-do list. That is, you have to actually have a list of what are the things you are supposed to complete in a day. And you also should plan your time management. With good management, with your good schedules, you can have the confidence. Also, you should have a set of system of rewards. Like, if I complete so and so, I should do so and so. I can look forward to something. I should have a reward. I should reward myself in such a way. So by completion of certain tasks becomes easier. And if there's a problem, we should ask for help, or we should move on from it, but we should no longer get stuck in a particular thing. Or we can text a friend, or ask a teacher, or ask a person who is knowledgeable about the situation, about that particular issue where you're stuck in the learning. Also, we should take breaks in between learning to breathe and be normal. We should eat healthy, because nutrition forms a basis through which we are able to come out of the stress. Lacking certain foods, that is, not taking certain foods, can also cause stress. So all sorts of food, especially the micronutrients, should also be taken. And one should eat healthy to boost energy, and also give you the stamina to overcome any such stresses. One should have good enough sleep. Restful sleep is more important. One should exercise at least for half an hour every day, and this exercise would help you to be having more oxygen in the brain cells and also in the body, and helps you to, this exercise helps actually endorphins, which helps you to make you more happy. Endorphins are chemicals secreted by the brain. And if really we require certain help, like, that is not normal help, we require something out of the outside help, that is a help of a psychiatrist, because we are no longer able to control our stress, it is very normal to take the help, or the guidance counselor, or a parent, or anybody who can help out with the issue. And certain amount of anxiety is normal, one should understand it. But once we are away from that situation, the person should become normal. Also, adjustment should be made in the thought process. We should see our thought patterns, and if there is any negative sort of thought patterns occurring, they should be curtailed, and anxiety should be reduced. And this can be done by practicing positive thoughts, and also having positive study habits, like using some study tools, having a particular place to study, studying ahead, and also frequent reviewing of the subject matter, or reading something akin to the subject matter, what we have learned. All this will help you to understand the subject in a better frame. Now, with that, we'll stop here. Let us understand about the other aspects of parental and peer pressure, and other aspects of the negative influences that are seen in the regular classroom settings, and how one can overcome these sort of issues by having certain psychological principles through which we can overcome these, so that the education can become a much more rewarding exercise. Thank you.